Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Well, let's go ahead and get this started. Reminder, raise your hand if you have a question. We'll do our best to work around 2 in our time limit. So we'll pull off. Let's start with you.
Good
Afternoon, Christian. How are you?
very well, thank you, Will. Good afternoon to you.
As far as I guess the biggest question on a lot of people's minds is Carroll. How is he back from Poland? How much do you feel like he'll feature tomorrow, if any?
Carol is back. He traveled back to Charlotte. He was with us today. He took part in our video session. And I think he will take part in the game. I don't know yet how. We will decide that together. So it's an ongoing thing. I will discuss with him. I thought he played really well in the last game against Moldova, but we need to take into consideration the traveling, many other things. But he will travel with the team, and he has been with us. I'm very happy to welcome him back.
In terms of just the rest of the situation going on with the team, how do you feel like the guys are keeping their edge going into this week?
Good. I think the group is he trained well. They were in good spirit. I thought that they used very well, from what I've seen, the days that I gave them to recover and rest mentally and physically, because when they came back, I thought that they trained with a lot of good spirit and good energy and good intensity, which is what I like. And so we go all together for the final push.
Right. All good, Will? Okay. We'll come back to anything else today. Let's go to Carol Walton.
Hey, Christian, how are you?
Hey, Carol. I'm fine, thank you. Thanks.
Good. Is Carol's personality where he's really itching to play? He's more realistic about his body and taking care of himself. You know, what has that conversation been like?
All of the above. Obviously, he's a football player, and he wants to play, but he's also a pro. He has been in this position already more than once, and again, I repeat, as a decision, we want the best for the team, which has to be before any individual. I'm very happy to welcome Carol here. I was happy to have him back, also because I follow these games closely, and I thought, like I was looking at Viere, the last game they played for Finland, or Bill for New Zealand, and so I thought that Carol played extremely well in the last one. But we will have to monitor how we recover from a difficult week, meaning difficult for the traveling, for the emotional side. When you play for the national team, they are fighting to get into the Euro, and so there is a lot of emotional things going on. But we will decide together with Carol. He's very committed, like everybody else, and we put the good of the team in front of all of us.
And Yera is a no, correct? He just played.
Yera is actually playing now as we speak. I think against Kazakhstan, he's not starting. He played 90 minutes in the last game. He's not starting this one. So it's going to be very difficult for him and for Bill.
Okay. Ben Bender, is there anything new on his knee?
No, he's recovering. He's doing the recovery session. He's not ready for this couple of games. So, but I saw him in a good spirit. He came to the video session as well. I think he's making progress, but not quick enough to join the squad.
Does that mean surgery is not a route he has to go, or is there still a decision to be made?
I think it's to see how the next few days will go.
Okay. And finally, for me, I know the last time you guys played Miami, the circumstances were very different, but is there anything you take from that game in preparation for tomorrow?
Different circumstances. I think they are obviously the most improved teams in terms at least of players that they brought after the change. Many things from the team that they started when we played them. Obviously, they had. I think I remember that game that we were very tired, physically, mentally as well, but physically traveling all over the country, and it wasn't easy for the boys. But no excuses. I think in the end they deserve to win, but. Of course, we know that whatever team they play, and even though I hear, they are out of the playoffs, but I think it's going to be very difficult anyway, and we need to be very focused on ourselves and very focused on playing a very, very strong game because they will be whatever team they put up, and I think that they recovered Farias as well, and they recover a few other players like Mota. I think that they're going to be a very good team to play against.
Thanks, Christian.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Kenneth Lee.
Hey, Christian, how are you?
Hey, Kenneth, good, thank you.
So obviously, in the last few games of the season, you guys control your own destiny. What's the morale like with the team, and how are you approaching that?
The morale is good, as I said to Will. I think the boys are in a good place. They are ready for the challenge. Then after we will see tomorrow night. But they have been training well. They have a good spirit. Everybody that we have at disposal will travel, and we want to give Miami a very strong game. We want to make our supporters proud and give them everything that we have got. We would love to go as far as possible to reach our goal, and that would be great for everybody involved at the club. I think, especially for the supporters, we want to give them that, but and we will give our best to make that happen.
Awesome. Thanks, Christian. And good luck.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, John Lupo.
Hey, Christian, how are you?
Hey, John. Fine, thank you.
So with playing the same team twice in the last 4 days of the season, I know you always say take it one match at a time and you're focused on who you're playing next, but is there any sort of different approach? I know obviously one match home, one match away, but is there any sort of different approach knowing you can sort of, I guess you can say, look ahead since it is the same team these last 2 matches?
I mean, John, exactly what you said at the beginning of your sentence. We want to really focus literally one game at a time. It's quite a unique situation that you play the same team twice in 3 days. But they have their own style, we have our own style, and every time that we have done that, we played following our principle and following our style. I think we gave the best. Not always we've been successful with the result, but in the last few games, I think we play our best football towards the end of the season, and I think that we need to take into consideration, obviously, how Miami will play. They played with 3 at the back, with 4 at the back, and we train for both the situation. But first and foremost, is how we are gonna play our game. We need to be true to ourselves and to keep building on what we have already built.
Against Chicago, it seems like you pushed Carroll a little more forward, played with Enzo as 2 strikers. Did you do that based on the matchup with the Fire? Did you do that because you have such a talented midfield, it's such a deep midfield, you can do a lot of different things? Is it Carroll's form recently? He's been so hot, scoring goals. What led to that decision, and will that be under consideration against Miami?
Yeah, I think that Carroll played the role that Carroll plays tactically is a role that it depends what the opposition gives you and how we can push the opposition back. And so I thought that he played very well before against Toronto. It was one of the best games that I thought Carroll played tactically. And then the game was more or less the same against Chicago, but he took different positions, especially in the first half and the beginning of the second one, depending on what the opposition gave us. So I think he plays a vital role tactically. And when I watched him with the national team, I was very pleased to see that he did more or less the same. So I thought that he improved a lot as a player. So this is also a good message for MLS that in this league, I think we also can push players and improve players. So we are a league with a lot of dignity, I think, in general, where players can go to national teams and actually improve. And so I think that is a consideration, obviously, to play Carroll with Enzo, for sure.
Heard you say this is still a very talented squad, whether he plays, whether Skets or Alba plays. I mean, they've got a lot of weapons. How do you go about preparing for them? Obviously, with or without Messi is a huge deal. That doesn't even need to be stated. But how do you go about preparing for a team like that you know still has so many talented players and so many dangerous players that can hurt you?
Yeah, there's nothing we can do about the technical level that they have. Even in the game against Cincinnati, the last game, they hit the post 3 times in the first half hour. So I thought that the final result was, I think Cincinnati obviously did well, but at the same time, they rolled the luck on a couple of occasions at least, to say the least. And so it's a very talented squad, you're right. And then obviously Messi is the icing on the cake. He's still, in my opinion, if not the best player in the world. We are not far from that. And how we prepare, play our game to become better and better at what we do with the ball and without, and to be true to our identity. We know what we want to do. And even if the opposition knows, but the better we execute, the better we play, the better we are organized, following what we normally train. In my opinion, the more chances we have to do well.
Great. Good luck, Christian.
Thank you, John.
Okay, thank you, John. All right, final one with John Arnold.
Hi, Coach. John Arnold for ESPN. Wanted to ask a little bit more about kind of what Carol was mentioning, what John was mentioning about kind of that previous meeting with Miami where Messi is present. What do you remember about trying to game plan with him in the squad? And then as you look, what changes tomorrow with him in Peru right now, unlikely to play in this first meeting? Kind of how do you remember preparing in the summer, and then what's different this time?
What we did, and I think actually it seems quite strange, to say that the plan to limit Messi worked quite well, and yet we got beaten and he scored a goal. But I thought that the boys did a good job to limit what you can do when you play against a player of such immense talent and ability and experience. You want to reduce the amount of time that is on the ball in dangerous areas. But after also knowing that to limit completely is almost impossible. And I was looking at an interview that Xabi Alonso had lately, and he said that when he was with Real Madrid, Mourinho, and they won the Liga with over 100 points over the Barca of Guardiola, that for many people was the best team of all times. It took them 1.5 years to know how to deal with Messi. And that was one of the best Real Madrid side, again, of all times. So that tells you the magnitude that everybody faces when you play such a great player. But then after, when you play against the Acosta, the Shaqiri, the Mukhtar, that they are that kind of characteristics, is always the same. You want to limit the time and space on the ball, knowing that in the case of Messi is an exceptional talent. But also knowing that there are other players that they are very good. Farias is a very, very good player, and then they have Mota, they have other guys that they can come between the lines and can create problems. So we need to be really focused in that sense, and to try to deny time and space as much as we can to this Miami team.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay. Thanks, Sean. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you post-match.
Thank you.
Thank you.